Hey, what's going on, Trojan family? What's up? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. This is your home for USC Trojans news. Hope the week is treating everybody well. Quick update on five-star safety Jet Washington. Many of you may have seen by now, but if not, it seems like it is becoming a two-horse race for the elite five-star prospect. There was a 247 Sports report, I want to say yesterday, maybe the day before. Blair Aguilar, one of their writers, had kind of said it's down to kind of Alabama, Oregon, and USC, which has kind of been the indication for the last kind of couple weeks. Tom Loy said he felt it was strongly more Oregon versus USC. He also said he thinks Oregon is in the lead right now. So that is their report. Everything I've heard and kind of what I've been saying is that USC is firmly in the mix. You know, it doesn't mean they're in the lead necessarily or he's verbaled or anything like that by any means. But I do think there's a real shot that SC is able to land Jet Washington. And now you get all the national recruiting insiders kind of online with that saying, yes, they're in the mix. You know, what does that end up meaning? He should, when does he commit? I think it's going to happen sooner than later. I don't necessarily mean this week. Here we are Thursday. But if I were, this is just my opinion, if I were kind of betting, I think it'll come kind of in that July 4th area. Well, before July 4th, excuse me. I'm going on vacation next week, so I feel like that's coming up very quickly because we get back right before July 4th. But in reality, we're still, 2.5 weeks away from July 4th. I think it'll happen before July 4th, in my opinion. Haven't heard report or specifics on that, but that's just kind of how I feel. I think he's done these visits now, and it's certainly down to those three. While it seems like Alabama is a little bit more behind now, I would definitely not count them out. I know after his visit to Alabama, it was like he was super high in Alabama. But I think indications are now it seems like maybe he does want to end up staying more on the West Coast. So that's why Pitt's Oregon, USC. He plays at Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas, so obviously would be close to home. He has ties to LA. He's the nephew of the late, great Kobe Bryant, for anyone that didn't know. So obviously strong ties to Los Angeles. So certainly there's a good fit with USC. Both programs in terms of skill set, I think he fits. I think he fits phenomenal with Dan Lynn's system that would move him like a chess piece all over the board. I mean, he would be the queen in chess of the USC defense, being able to move all over the place. So certainly a good fit there. But we'll see what if anything transpires or comes down to it. But visits went really well, and it seems like USC is certainly in a strong position to make it happen. I think the NIL offer is certainly strong. Is it the highest offer? I can't confirm or deny. Haven't heard either way, but we do know based on other reporting that it's certainly that will not be the reason he doesn't come to SC is it because he gets outbid necessarily. So it'll be right in line with what he is hearing otherwise. So it comes more down to probably fit and feeling, which I think certainly why USC is in the running now. Now, I've seen a lot of questions, and I don't have a perfect answer, but I do want to try to address it. I've seen a lot of questions, when Peyton Dyer committed to SC just last weekend after his official visit, we talked about how, okay, that signifies USC is out on Brandon Arrington and out on Devon Benjamin, but not out on Jet Washington. And I've said all along, you got to view these secondary recruits as DBs, not necessarily CBs or safeties, because they're recruiting athletes that can play anywhere in the back end, and they're going to kind of test out and see where guys fit, whether that's nickel, whether that's outside corner, whether that's safety. So I've said that, don't get hung up on that. However, this kind of signifies kind of two things to me. So to answer any question out there of why they would be out on Benjamin and Arrington, but not out on Washington, I think it shows that they truly view maybe those guys as corners. Now, again, they're recruiting overall DBs, but they'll still have an idea of like, okay, this is where we see this guy. So, for instance, like if a Matt Riordan, I think on 24/7, it has him listed as a corner. I think USC clearly sees him as a safety. So a site will say corner, oh, USC has 4 corners, but in reality, they're viewing one of those guys as a safety. So I think this shows that they truly believe Arrington and Benjamin were suited as corners. And so now they've filled up guys that they feel are corners, can still move around, but they're not going to package huge NIL deals for guys that they feel like they already have fits at those spots. Whereas Jet, I think they are recruiting as a safety, but can also obviously come down in the box with his size. But with Doug Belk leading the charge on that recruitment, I think it's more telling that they view him as a true kind of back-end safety that can play all over, but not necessarily see him as a corner type as some of the other guys, if that makes sense. I don't want to like over talking that, but I just know that there was definitely some questions we got on the channel, but then I've seen it all over on social too of like, well, why would they be out on those guys if they are recruiting guys as DBs? Certainly it has to be within their fold of how they believe they're going to use guys. And then also NIL obviously comes in, you know, you can't pay everyone. Yeah, the NIL is great now at SC and it's in a great robust spot, but you can't pay absolutely everyone. And if they think Jet Washington is a better fit based on who they currently have. Because again, before Dyer commits, then it's like, okay, well, we have like 2 defensive back openings. So yeah, we could go after both Devon Benjamin and Jet Washington. But once Dyer committed, it's like, okay, we have another spot filled. Like we can't add another layer to that. Now, if let's say Jet ends up committing to either Oregon or Alabama, there are other safety names out there, but does that mean they would reopen the possibility of an Arrington or Benjamin? I'll never say never, but I don't, based on indications and based on other conversations, I don't think so. It seems like unless one of the current DBs decommitted, it's kind of the door's somewhat closed on those other 2 names. So, you know, we'll see. A long way to go. You could potentially lose one of these DBs, and then, you know, maybe you go back after, even if they're committed, go back after and try to flip one of those guys. I mean, this recruiting game is wild, right? So things are going to happen. But if the roster holds true how it is, even if Jet chooses elsewhere, I think that would lead them to go after another specific safety and not after Arrington or Benjamin. But we'll see. But anyway, quick little update. So USC firmly in the mix. I've been really high on Jet. I've talked in articles. I've talked on Twitter. Like, I firmly believe, like, this is a guy that they really want to land. And if you lock in Jet, if they end up, like we believe, getting the commitment of Talanoa Ely on Sunday on Father's Day, and my next video is going to be about the receiver position, and you get one more elite receiver, wrap it up, keep this class stacked. Obviously, I think they still have room for another defensive lineman probably. Potentially offensive line. I don't think they're pursuing that super hard, but they could add another one. But as is, I mean, you'd be set. You'd be at 30, 31 recruits. You've gotten some of the top guys that you've gone after. And, yeah. So last thing I'll say, and I'll wrap this one up. I think what's been really exciting about this recruiting cycle, and, you know, people can spin it however they want, right? Like, you can always spin things without, if you're not in the rooms and conversations, like, it's hard to truly know the exact. But from what it seems, and people love PR, right? Everyone loves, like, oh, you want USC to look good. I think what the good look has been throughout this process is the guys that they have gone all in on, they've pretty much landed. And the guys that seemed like they were kind of waffling, USC was the one to say, all right, we're moving on. Where in kind of like years past, they got those guys to commit, but in reality, those guys weren't necessarily all in, which is why we saw the bevy of decommitments over the past couple of years. And obviously, we know about the policy changes and having to shut your recruitment down. That's obviously part of it. But, you know, I wrote about just last week, top 5-star edge player. I'll come up with his name here in a second. But a top 5 edge player that was really excited about the idea of USC. Here, I have it right here. Trenton Henderson, 5-star edge out of Florida, I believe. And a month ago, was really excited about USC, was ready to commit to USC. USC said, well, we want you, but you want to still take some visits. Like, you should test that out. You're from across the country, so we want this to kind of the excitement of being here to maybe wear a little bit to make sure, not going to get homesick or anything like that. They kind of waited, and, now seemingly he's trending towards other schools. It's better that that's happening this way, kind of organically, as opposed to getting a commitment early and then the shock of the decommitment 2 months later or whatever. So I think they're just handling things so much better in a sense of they're the ones kind of controlling the narrative. Guys they really want, they hammer home, they get it done. They've landed basically everyone they've wanted. When you look at Kenai Pepe, when you look at Mark Bowman, we can go down the list. And then the guys that they wanted, but then there was kind of some back and forth. They said, okay, you know what? Go do you. We'll move on to the next. Just an observation. So let me know what you guys think. Jet Washington would be huge. Drop it in the comments below. Make sure to check out our new message board on LAFBnetwork.com. Just hit forums in the menu and drop some comments there. We'd love to get started some engagement up on there. So I am Ryan Dyrud. This is the USC LAFB show. Back with another video here very soon. As always, fight on.